Hey there guys, Scott here, and we're here to talk about I think one of the most underutilized things in 365 that I know of for a lot of businesses, and that is Viva Insights. Now, Viva Insights is a fantastic tool. It's available within Teams, and there's a web app for it as well. And what it does is Microsoft capture a lot of information about you and your working day and how productive you are, what hours you work, who you work with, what sort of meetings you have, who attends those meetings. And what Insights does is it lets you surface that information and bring it front and center so you can see how you're getting on. There's a massive piece in here about wellness and mental being as well. And one of my favorite things there as well is about praise, something that, it's just not formalized enough within a business. And Microsoft already have that covered, included in your 365 license. So let's go and have a look. There's a couple of ways to get to Insights in 365. Number one, we can click up here on the waffle menu, and we should be able to find it in our apps here. If we can't, we can go into explore all of our apps. Click all apps up here, and then we'll find, as we look through here, there's the Insights app. One of the other ways you'll find this as well is there is a Viva option here, and if you click on Viva, Insights is part of the Viva suite, and when we click on here, we'll see you've got Insights. You've also got Engage Connections and Learning if you have those with your licenses. If we have a look at Insights here, this will bring up Viva Insights. One of the other ways we can bring this up is if we are using Teams. So let's just dive into Teams a second and notice that it looks exactly the same. If we go down to here, we can go into our apps and we can click and we can search for an app. If we can't find it, it's here because I've used it just to prep for this demo, but we can type in here Viva and we'll find it in Viva Insights, and you'll notice what pops up in here is exactly the same as what we have in the browser here. So the home, well-being, everything inside this top corner here is the website. So why is Viva Insights so cool? Viva Insights is, the whole idea really is about trying to get the most out of what you're doing in your day to be as productive as possible, and make sure you're as focused and you don't get burnt out, and you're rewarded fairly, and you understand what you're doing. And all of this information is captured by Microsoft throughout the day with everything that you're doing. So when we look on here, we can see we can book focus time. So this is going to look in our calendar for time where we have availability and go, actually, let's book some time to make sure you're taking the time to focus on the work that you need to. You're not doing back-to-back meetings and phone calls. And you'll see here, you can either do that manually, where we would go through and we look through our days and it will find that time for us. And we can just press book, and that's boom, straight in the calendar. So on Monday, the 26th of February, between 8 to 10, I've now got some focus time booked. And if I look in, let's have a look quickly in our calendar, Outlook load here. Let's have a look at the 26th. There it is. It's put that focus time in for me automatically, just by me pressing book on a button on our Viva Insights tab here. Now we can also up here set a daily focus plan. That set of daily focus plan will make sure we reserve up to 2 hours of focus time a day in which team chat notifications are going to be muted. So when we're in focus, it's going to automatically mark us as do not disturb on our Teams. We can go in and change the settings. So at the moment, that's we've got that turned on. We've got the plan on here at the moment. We can dial that down. We don't have to have 2 hours of focus time a day. We could just set it to 1. Do we prefer it in morning, afternoon? Don't schedule focus time earlier than. We can turn notifications back on if we want to, if we don't want it to mute us. Or from here, if we want to, we can just press leave plan. They want to know why we're going to leave the plan. Microsoft, want to make sure we're doing things right. So there we go. I've left the plan here. We could see I can get back into this here. This is in our settings, which we're going to have a look at in a bit more detail in a moment. So that's one thing that we can do here. We've also got quiet time. So quiet time, if we set on here, what are our quiet times? When do we want to disengage in the evening? So when do we finish working? When do we start working again? We put our times in on here. And when we do that, we can mute mobile notifications in there if we want to. And we're going to find out there, we can set up automatically occurring lunch dates and stuff in here. So we don't have to do all this through our calendar. All of these parts are all available, and it's all to do with protecting your time. And when we do that, and we look in our productivity later on and our kind of well-being, we can see what's happening and are we doing too much work in times when we shouldn't be during that downtime and that quiet time that we've got planned. Another one we've got down here, these are to do with headspace. So we've got our work from home, ending our day. You can play this at the end of the day. And they've got these kind of breathing exercises and rituals that can help you to calm, de-stress, decompress before your day finishes, especially if you're someone that's working from home. That's quite important. This one then ties in really nicely with this. This is set virtual commute. So again, I do this quite regularly. If I'm working from home, and I work from home most of the time, I will tend to burn the midnight oil a little bit, and I go a bit too far. This here at 5 o'clock on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this is going to, a little message is just going to pop up in my Teams and say, it's time to get ready to go home, Scott. It doesn't put it in my calendar. It just gives me a nice little notification. And again, in here, when we go into settings, we're not in protect time now, we're in virtual commute. This is where we can turn on, do we want a reminder? What time do we want it? And we can change that time if we wanted to. Enroll. And then we've got it on. We can turn that off here as well. So we saw a few things in settings there. Let's just have a look under the three dots up here. So the little kebab menu. We can press settings, and that'll take us to that same screen. Now this is to try and get the most out of Insights. Let it know what your schedule is and what you do. So set on here, what days do you work? What's your start time? What's your end time? We've got praise on here. We'll talk about praise in a moment. Protect time we saw on here earlier. We've got our quiet time we spoke about. Productivity inline suggestions. So show inline suggestions in your emails and Outlook to help you book focus time, manage tasks, and more. This is really handy. It uses a little bit of AI to kind of pre-prepare you for meetings and afterwards as well, and make sure you're doing the right things at the right times. This is where, like we said, we can turn that lunch on. So if I go on here, my lunch, I'd like to have my lunch at 12 till 1 every day. I'm going to press save changes. That should now automatically put in my calendar. Yes, it has. There's my lunchbox. We can still move these as well. They're not recurring in a way that, if we need to edit them, it's going to break all of them. We can, much like with focus time as well, we can go into one of our focus times and just delete it, bin it off, and it's not going to affect any others. We can make this a little shorter if we wanted to. We can move a focus time to another time if we wanted to, wherever the gaps in our calendars are. But Viva Insights every week will try and we'll try and make sure your lunch is booked, and that you've got that focus time in the gaps where you're not doing anything. We then have these no meeting day plan settings. So Insight will send reminders before each no meeting day. Just to cancel any conflicting meetings, if you've set any days where you're not going to have any meetings. Virtual commute we saw earlier. This is where we can turn that on and off. We've then got a reflection. So this is a schedule at the end of the day to reflect on what you're doing. If we click on here, reflection allows you to take time to check in with yourself emotionally. You can figure which days and what times you want to be reminded and do that task. So again, it's all about that health and well-being. So there's a lot more than just stats here. It's about looking after you. Then we've got effective meetings. So effective meetings here, we can shorten our meetings if we want to. So we can do, if they're an hour, we want to try and drop them down by 5 minutes. If they're 1 hour or longer, do we want to try and remove 10 minutes from them? And we can do that by ending our events early and starting them later if we want to. This is all about healthy meeting norms to make sure that hybrid work, you're not back-to-back meetings, which is really important. And then this one down here, this is add Teams meetings. So automatically include a Teams meeting to any of your meetings. So that it stops you having to toggle that switch on. I've done it a couple of times before where I've been trying to make an Outlook meeting and I haven't automatically added a Teams meeting to it. By this one here, you're basically telling it, I work online and most of my meetings are online. So just please make sure there's a Teams meeting added to all my meetings here. So we save changes on here. And then we've got some details on here about privacy. Now, Insights works really well because Microsoft, they capture all this information and they make it available to you, but they use some of this information for other people as well. So your availability, what your collaboration data is and how well you're working with people. You can turn this off if you want to. And if you turned off Viva Insights, you're going to lose all of that information and not be able to see it. But also other people aren't going to be able to see it and see how well they're working with you as well. So I would advise leaving it turned on. Down here, though, there are a couple of extra bits we can turn off. So a Viva Digest email, you'll get an email each day or each week telling you what you've been up to, how many out of hours things you've done, and just kind of, like geeing you on and letting you know you're doing the right things in the right places. If you don't want that email, this is where we turn it off. So it's under privacy, we turn it off here. The other one is the Insights Outlook add-in. When you're in Outlook, there is an Insights button that will give you access to lots of this information as well. If you don't want that button there, that's where you turn it off here. So you turn it off here and that'll make it be removed from Outlook. So let's have a further look into Insights. We've already looked obviously some of these tabs here. We're going to come back to praise in a moment. It's one of my favorite parts of Insights. But down here, we've got parts on communication habits. We can look at details. Down here, we've got an inspiration library as well. So again, like I said, it's all about making sure you're doing the right thing. And these are all tips that Microsoft share from different places and kind of bits of advice you can borrow from other people of making sure you're working in the best way possible. Let's then have a look at well-being. Now, the reason I've darted from, these are all recommended squares or tiles that come from different parts of Viva. This send praise lives in the well-being part. And we'll see in here we've got our focus time, we've got our disconnect, we've got our work from ending your day, decompress after work that we spoke about earlier. We've got some articles in here. This is just a little bit of an easier way of getting around it. Reflect on your emotions. Reflection time. How are you getting on today? So I'm having a good day today. Brilliant. Cool. That's me done. I can set a reminder to ask how I'm doing each day, and I can look at that graph. So when we were saying about that reflection time, we can look back in time just to see how things were getting on. When we look up here, though, praise is one of my favorite modules. The reason being, if someone has done something really well, or you're really happy with an achievement within the company, you can use praise within Viva. You can use it directly within Teams as well. So if we go to a chat here in Teams, and I'm just going to start a chat with Patty, down here we'll see there's a little praise button here, and if we press that, the same module fires up. So a praise module, it needs a message in there. So let's just put a quick one in. Hello, Patty. It's not happy for me to use the module until we've turned it on. But if we do this now, here we go, the praise module will fire up, and it looks the same as it does here in our Viva Insights. If I go to send praise, we're getting this same module come up. And the whole idea on this is we can send praise to someone. What did we do? Let's put something on here. Courage. Thank you for all your efforts today. You bossed it. Make that a nice color, and we press send. So we do that from Teams, and we'll see that leaves. It goes as an inline message, and we can see that here. You can click on review your praise history. That's going to take you into Insights to look at praise that you've received. You can send praise. So this is inline here in Teams. If we go back to our Viva Insights and look at all praises, here we go. We can see praise history, praise that I've sent. We can go back in time. So there's some praise we sent back in December. Let's just refresh the screen a second, because I don't think it's picked up the praise that I just sent. There we go. There's a praise I've just sent. There's our praise history, praise that I've sent. And this is a really good way of, if you're having a bit of a day where you're down in the dumps, and you can look back in here and see all the praise that I've received all in one place. You can see all the praise that I've sent all in one place as well. And you can go to that message if it's come from a message as well, and see what happened on that day and when we did it. Now, with that, we get some recommendations. These will automatically, using AI, as you're working through with people and people are collaborating with you and you're doing certain projects and meetings, this will actually recommend you people that you should praise for certain pieces of work that you've done. It knows what meetings you've been in. It knows what time you've spent with people. Down here, this is where we can build that habit of recognizing our colleagues. So we could actually set some time, let's say on a Thursday, at 2 o'clock. I'm going to set a reminder. And what that's going to do, 2 o'clock every Thursday, I get a message telling me, go and have a look, see what praise we need to send out. It's a fantastic module. Really, really, I'm really enthused by it. I think it should be used much, much more. And a lot of people just don't know it exists. It's baked into 365. It's there for you to use. Please, have a look at it. We'll see down on here. There we go. We've got our virtual commute, which we turned on in our well-being, and all of the other parts, that were there. Next up's productivity. This is where Insights gets really cool. Now, this is a demo tenancy, so I'm not really going to be able to show you too much of the details. So you're just going to have to bear with me and use a little bit of an imagination here. But this is going to tell me insights and actions to adapt for me and my peers. And this is where it's going to start looking at how many meetings have I been in that it regards as successful. So as in, did everybody turn up? Was everybody there on time? Were people talking? Did people engage with each other? And it's going to give us tips and pointers as we go through. When we get down here, our meeting habits, this brings out a full detailed spec of what's happened in our meetings over the last 4 weeks. Now, like I said, this is a dev tenancy, so we haven't actually, we don't get involved in any meetings here, but it's going to look at, were your meetings under an hour? Because that's the best kind of meeting. Did they overlap with any other meetings? Did you multitask? It knows if you're in a meeting and you're working on other documents and you're sending emails, it knows you're multitasking and it advises against it. You should be legitimate in your meeting and giving the person you're talking to your undivided attention. It's going to see on here, did everybody VP to the invite? Did people join on time? Was the attendance okay? All of these metrics are what it requires as a good meeting habit. Scott from the future here. I felt bad that you couldn't see any data there, so I've just gone and grabbed this from my live tenancy and put the screenshot up so you can have a look to see how that's gonna look in your environment. I'll try and do that a bit later on with some of the other clips in the video as well. We've then got the meeting details, and in here we can actually see a list of our recent meetings. So this kind of aggregates everything all into one place. This, we can see all of the meetings and we get ticks and crosses. So we can see what a good meeting was, what wasn't a good meeting. This is just a very easy way. Again, this data is already being captured. You can just go in here and have a look at this whenever you want. It goes into a little bit more detail on here. If we click on the eyes, these are everywhere. It tells us how it's calculated and what it's doing. Down here, we've got some suggested tasks. If there's people that we work with regularly, we can pin them. But down here, this is also going to look at any emails, Teams chats, files that have been sent to you, emails you haven't responded to. This here is going to be suggested task list of what you should do to catch up. So it's a really good place to get yourself, and that's under productivity. Scroll to the bottom. I kind of wish it was at the top, but this on mine, I use this a lot, and it will tell me someone sent a file to me. You haven't opened the file yet, and it knows I haven't opened the file, so it's just going to give me that nudge to remind me what I should be looking at. Someone's booked a meeting with you and you haven't responded yet. Okay, cool. I'm going to have a look at that and do what I need to do. That's all under the productivity tab. Finally, we're going to dive into teamwork. Now, teamwork's really cool. This here shows me, our collaboration time within working hours. So they're the hours that I set. It's going to tell me, collaboration outside of my working hours. So when am I working the most, and who am I working with? In here, we've got our view network as well. So we can go to view in my network, and this will show us people that, we can pin, that we work with regularly. It's going to show us any kind of, within the last 4 weeks, this graph grows out. And in these lines, again, I'm afraid you're going to have to imagine this because it's a dev tenancy, but there would be icons for all of the people that I engage with the most. And the people that I do engage with the most, I can pin those people to see what I'm doing with them. So again, a fantastic tool. And a great way of making sure you're working with the right people in the right places, and you can kind of see what your habits are, who you're working with, when you're working with them. So we can scroll down on here as well. You would have seen I got to there through show details here. But if I go show details below our collaborators, we then have a breakdown over the last 4 weeks of what we've been doing. Emails that have been sent, emails I've read, chats and calls that I've been on. And you can really kind of see the sort of productivity that you have and when you're working. Like we say, it's a fantastic tool. Really underutilized, poorly advertised, and something out there that if you've got 365, you should definitely be out there and playing with it. So there we have it, guys. That's Viva Insights, and like I said, it's in 365. It's available with anybody that has a business basic license or higher, and that will give you full access to Viva Insights within the web app, within Teams. I highly recommend you pin it in your Teams and turn some of those settings on to make your quality of life, working life better. Like I say, I already have in myself, in my own time, I've turned on things like focus, and it puts that in there for me every week, making sure I have time to work on the projects that I need and I'm not sat in back-to-back meetings. And it makes sure other people don't book me up when I need to, because I use things like bookings with me, and it makes sure my calendar doesn't have big holes that anybody can kind of just pick and choose when they need to work with me. It's a fantastic tool. Really recommend you get out there and play with it. There is a next step for Insights. It's something we haven't covered today, but there is a license you can buy within your business that would actually give your leaders and your managers more visibility. So with Insights, you're only looking at your own stuff. If you have the right licensing and you pay for the extra tier, you can, as a manager, look at your team's insights and how productive your team is being, and what sort of hours and things that they're working. All that data is already being captured by Microsoft. It's just only surfaced to yourself within the standard Insights suite. When you use the full version of it and you use the paid for, that's when you can have your managers, and you can have organizational stats as well. And Microsoft have many other products within the Viva platform that we'll cover and discuss at some point. It's a fantastic tool. Get out there, have a play. If you like what you've seen today, like, follow and subscribe. We're going to be putting more videos out there with some more tips and tricks of what we can do in 365 to be a bit more productive, and some of the bells and whistles that people possibly don't play with. And as always, be excellent to each other.